What would you say if I could guess your 3 earliest memories based on your personality? Well, let's see. Alright, think of your 3 oldest memories and see if the personality description they match up with fits you. I'm looking for 3 separate facets of your personality. So in order to avoid them all being from the same category, it is best if one memory is one that is pleasant, one is a memory that is unpleasant, and one that is just really old. If you think that is some kind of trick, you can pause the video and write down your earliest 5 or 10 memories and use those. You will see that no matter how many memories you come up with, they will all have 3 of 7 possible themes. Each memory represents the first time you remember using one of the 7 measurement types. The measurement types are different facets of life that are fundamentally different, such as the difference between efficiency and effectiveness. These measurement types are correlated with emotions and represent specific intentions. I will describe each briefly. The first measurement type is initiation. Its intention is to approach something boldly, industriously, functionally, or with cleverness. It is the measurement type appropriate for deciding which thing or situation to engage with and how to do it. It is the preferred measurement type for those who think on their feet and are willing to try new things. These people are typically concerned with what works and are often perceived as charismatic or confident. Initiation measurement type people do things as they come, as quickly and as effectively as possible. Their to-do list isn't very long compared with how much they get done, because things are done right away, delegated, or bypassed. What would your life look like if you didn't hesitate or second-guess yourself and took every opportunity in front of you? Probably not much different if initiation is one of your core emotions, because hesitating and second-guessing is not your thing. It isn't that initiation core emotion people are impulsive or oblivious to consequences. They see the cost of initiating, but also see the cost of not, and that cost is a lot more to them. While others are busy weighing out the pros and cons of trying something new, they have already tried it twice and figured out how to make it work. They are exceptional at seeing what gets results and doing it. Their motto in taking risks is, worst case scenario, I fail, but still learn something which increases my ability to succeed in the future. And best case scenario, I succeed and move on to something bigger with what I've gained by winning. In poker, they're the ones going all in rather than making a rational bet, because they know that everyone else can't handle risk and uncertainty as much as them and will crumble under the pressure. They often like it when pressure gets turned up because it separates out the competition. Because of this, they might be tempted to intentionally turn up the pressure or raise the stakes. It's a game to them. Everything is. To an outsider, they might look hasty or outright reckless, but their fast decision-making is balanced out by sheer number of decisions they have made in their life. Their decisions do have important inferences and considerations backing them up. It just doesn't seem possible that they do because of how quickly they seem to respond to things. Other people get lost in the details of everything they are factoring into the decision and waste time for marginal benefits. Initiation people are quick to process things because they don't get lost in the details. They focus on the most important thing and wing the rest. Initiation people do miss important details sometimes, which can come at a high cost, but because jumping in is what they do well, jumping back in is not very intimidating for them. A benefit of jumping in is that results can be seen quickly, which means they can use that feedback to change course or to motivate them on the course they are already on. This approach to initiating produces immediate feedback, and practice changing course leads to confidence in their ability to rise to the top no matter the situation. Initiation people are concerned with what works. They typically don't care about why it works. Their early memories lack the same defining themes that other core emotions have, but often simply have to do with something that catches their attention, which is typically a specific colored object. The second measurement type is deconstruction. It is the deconstruction of what was initiated in the first action. It is dissecting something in order to find out what it is made of, objectively, contextually, and looking for what has reproducibility or insight. It is the measurement type appropriate for understanding what variables an object or situation is made of. It is the preferred measurement type of those people who want to really understand things and are willing to keep digging till something makes sense. These people are typically concerned with what is accurate and are often perceived as intelligent or insightful. Deconstruction measurement type people are so detail-oriented that they will not take on a task unless it can be clearly outlined. If you've ever had someone answer what you deemed to be an important question to a satisfying degree, deconstruction is probably not one of your core emotions. If someone has ever given you instructions and you blindly follow them without testing or verifying, this is probably not one of your core emotions. Deconstruction people typically have a large vocabulary comprised of nuanced technical terms for whatever they are an expert in, and they are an expert in at least one thing, that's for sure. There are people who don't read instructions, and there are deconstruction people They annotate them with all the important details that were missing or inaccurate. In contrast to initiation emotion people that in poker can't wait for a good hand and rely on bluffing, the deconstruction person calculates the exact odds. They are not factoring in the confidence or reputation of other players. In fact, they are challenging it. Deconstruction people are concerned with having the most accurate model to reference. They invest a lot of time and energy to elucidate what variables or components things are made of. These people are researchers at heart, defenders of truth or reality. They are not quick to act, but very confident when they do. Their early memories typically involve modeling reality, as in playing with a toy tractor or truck and making a scale model of a road system. It might have to do with a map or seeing something in real life you saw or read conceptualized in a book or magazine. It might have something to do with digging or just playing in the dirt. The third measurement type is expansion. It is the expansion of the variables discovered in the second step. It is exploring innovatively, creatively, holistically, or open-mindedly. It is the measurement type appropriate for gaining perspective and seeing possibilities beyond the objects or variables of the current situation. This is the preferred measurement type of people who innovate and create new things. These people are typically concerned with perspective and are often perceived as creative or well-rounded. Expansion measurement type people have so many projects they are working on and frequently finding so many new ones that even if they made a comprehensive list, it would change with the next wave of exciting tangents. How do you feel when you're going on so many tangents in a conversation that you have no idea what the original topic or point you were trying to make was? If you're not sure, it's probably because it isn't a common occurrence for you, and expansion is probably not one of your core emotions. If you can easily do one project and not get derailed halfway through by something else more exciting, expansion is probably not one of your core emotions. It's not that expansion people never finish what they start. They just start many more projects than can be finished in a lifetime. They go off on tangents and tangents of tangents at an exciting but overwhelming rate. They don't want to miss the side quest because they are so quickly going towards the initial objective. This looks undisciplined if those side quests don't yield anything recognizable of value, but looks like genius when it does. Many people would see the objective of college is to graduate. Expanders might finish, but they also might strike gold on a side quest and drop out. Expanding people are inventors and innovators at heart. They like to know at least a little about everything to gain context. They like to mix concepts from different disciplines, which makes pretty much everything they do original, to a fault sometimes. Expanders see opportunities other people don't, and end up having experiences most other people don't have. In contrast to initiators, who want to see the results quickly, and the appliers, who act as a result of past results, expanders focus on collecting a broad range of data from every angle. An expander in poker will buy into a tournament even if they've never played before, just for the experience. And who knows, they might luck out. Their oldest memories involve some sort of experiment or invention. It also might involve rotating around something to see it from all perspectives. The fourth measurement type is unification. It is the unification of the new things and information gathered in the first three steps. It is connecting things receptively, optimistically, synergistically, or for better continuity. It is the measurement type appropriate for bringing things together. It is the preferred measurement type for those people who like networking and combining things together. These people are typically concerned with connection and are often perceived as kind or social. Their to-do list is not a checklist, but a running compilation of ongoing projects to bring better interconnectedness. Their to-do list might contain favors for other people or just things they couldn't say no to. If there was a competition where you could win $1 million if you could name 100 people, describe their occupation, aspirations, and worries, would you win? If you wouldn't even come close, unification is not one of your core emotions. If you don't typically reach out to people for reasons other than work on a regular basis, this likely isn't your core emotion. Unification core emotion people are the glue that holds society together. They are motivated by harmony and synergy and are willing to sacrifice a lot to make it happen. They are not always bubbly or outgoing, but because they have a place for just about everyone in their heart and invest in people and relationships, they are exceptional at making and maintaining friendships. They may or may not feel that they have a lot of close friends because they often give more than they receive and are typically the ones reaching out or bringing people together, rather than vice versa. They don't really mind. They like to be the spark of kindness that hopefully catches fire. They see what great things each person has to offer and are really good at bringing out the best in everyone. Not only do they notice needs people have and do something to help, they follow up. They remember important details about people and like to make people feel special. Not that other personality types don't, but unification people do it pretty much all the time to everyone. They have hobbies, but are very flexible and often content to do what someone else wants to do. They are very helpful and have a hard time saying no to people, so please don't abuse that about them. They will listen and don't like being contentious, but don't actually want to buy into multi-level marketing schemes they get pitched all the time. They have a robust network of connections, but it isn't for sale. Heck, they don't even want to ask for the thing back people borrowed. They definitely aren't going to risk offending people trying to sell them stuff. In their oldest memories, the people are the focus of attention, not the activity. When memories are recounted, often people have full names and their relationship is explained. The fifth measurement type is application. It is the application of what was brought together in the fourth step. It is holding things together for structure, completeness, stability, or because of principles. It is the preferred measurement type of people who finish what they start and are diligent and consistent. They're typically concerned with what is stable and are often perceived as reliable or hardworking. Application measurement type people do all they are responsible for and more. They complete each thing on their to-do list thoroughly. If you are capable of leaving a job unfinished, this is likely not your core emotion. If you know anyone more stubborn than you, this is likely not one of your core emotions. Application core emotion people rarely meet an obstacle with more grit than them. To outsiders, it seems like they never run out of energy. But really, they just don't believe in pain. It's like if you were driving a car and the gas gauge hits empty, and you know there's still some in there, and keep driving. Except they believe there's always more gas in the tank if the job isn't done yet. They can work in a team, but since they do much more than their share, they typically prefer to work alone or in a small group of people that can work as hard as them. They are physically strong, but their willpower is stronger, and if they ever do end up going to the doctor, which they don't, the wear and tear on their body is often off the charts. Application core emotion people have a strong sense of duty and carry their own weight. They don't cut corners, and they don't make excuses. Unlike the other personality types who play a certain role at the poker table, application core emotion people don't play poker. What they accomplish is due to hard work, not gambling. If they had one connection to gambling, it would be if that poker table was built by them. And in that case, you can bet that table is level, puttied and sanded, with every grit of sandpaper, and solid as a rock. They aren't impressed by anything not made out of blood and sweat. In their oldest memories, they are holding their ground or pushing forward in spite of resistance to carry out their plan or intention. The sixth measurement type is preservation. It is the separation of what has been gathered in the first 5 steps from everything else that might obstruct or undermine it. It is preserving by prioritizing, refining, preparing, or calculating. It is a measurement type appropriate for preservation and organization. It is the preferred measurement type of people who think ahead and prepare. These people are typically concerned with safety and are often perceived as prepared or organized. The to-do list of preservation measurement type people consists of everything they might regret later if they don't do. Of course, no one likes to live with regret, but people with a strong preference for the separation measurement type actively and consistently prepare against future regrets of loss due to a lack of preparation being one of them. If calendaring and organizing was a competition and you would likely win, this might be one of your core emotions. If your preparedness and forethought benefits you or other people on a regular basis, this could be one of your core emotions. If you typically have backups of things, this is probably one of your core emotions. Preservation core emotion people are prepared. That preparation may not always be calendaring and organizing, but they do plan ahead and consider everything they might possibly need. They likely have a big purse or a big car, packed with everything from first aid to snacks. They are calculated and somewhat risk adverse. Similar to the deconstruction emotion people, they would play poker conservatively, if they ever played at all. But even then, they wouldn't want to bet on some calculated narrow win ratio, but would rather wait for a flat-out unbeatable hand. They like to be sure of things, or better, extra sure. You can bet if they are leaving on a trip, they made a list and checked it twice. Similar to application emotion people, preservation emotion people don't cut corners. In fact, they go a step further and look for what is most likely to break and fortify it. They probably have a phone case and screen protector that could survive being run over by just about anything. Their oldest memories often have the theme of safety versus danger. It could be some weak spot that was exploited, or it could be that some possible vulnerability was successfully prepared against. The seventh measurement type is transformation. It is the transformation of the overall alignment of intention and outcome. It also includes weighing in cost and benefit. It is looking for what is fulfilling, inspiring, transcendent, or optimized. It is the measurement type appropriate for defining the goals and obstacles involved and making adjustments. It is the preferred measurement type of those who think things all the way through. These people are typically concerned with overarching direction in life and are often perceived as wise or majestic. Transformation measurement type people have an overarching direction in life, and their to-do list is composed of what furthers their efforts in that direction. If you've ever been people watching, and then suddenly, as if the camera zoomed out, you seem to be watching yourself, watching other people from the outside, this could be one of your core emotions. If that happens, and then suddenly the camera zooms out again, and you seem to be watching yourself, watch others, as if from outside of time and space, this is very likely to be one of your core emotions. If people tell you more about their deepest secrets without you prying at all, this might be one of your core emotions. If even strangers, unsolicited, tell you extremely personal things, transformation is probably one of your core emotions. There are two reasons transformation core emotion people feel safe to tell secrets to, and that is because they don't jump to conclusions or try to force their opinion on you. It isn't that they don't have opinions, they do, very profound ones, but those opinions are so complex and change so often that they rarely feel their opinion is ready to be shared and definitely not forced. Transformation is the last of 7 steps and looks back on the first 6 to see whether the intention and outcome match, and if the cost and benefit are optimal. This means their default state is looking and listening. Transformation is the last of 7 steps and therefore well thought through, especially in contrast to the initiation type people who are good at jumping headfirst into a situation. Initiation type people don't get lost in the details and care more about how things get done rather than why. Transformation type people, however, do get lost in the details, not because, like deconstruction people, they really appreciate precision, but for philosophical reasons. They can get paralyzed by existential crises, but that is because they're the only ones who really face them head on. Outsiders might see this and say, it's not a big deal. Transformation people probably won't reply, how could you possibly know what is or isn't a big deal in the grand scheme of things? Because they know the person saying it wouldn't say it if they really had any sort of answer for that question. So why ask it? For this same reason, they don't like being pressured to give a yes or no answer, because more than every other personality type, they can see how everything depends on everything else. If anyone is Sherlock Holmes, it is them. Their mental concepts of people sometimes are prophetically accurate, but they can be exhausting to create and maintain for more than a small group of people. Their early memories often involve climbing to gain a better perspective. Stairs and vistas are common themes. In contrast to the Unification core emotion people whose early memories have details about names and relationships, transformation emotion people have details about where everything is spatially. A.M.E. endeavors to outline categories of life that have objective value that can be perceived and evaluated. A person's ability to perceive and evaluate each of these categories is what determines personality. But personality is just the starting point to develop competence in all facets of life. A.M.E. makes the process of identifying and working on weak spots and identifying and bridging the gap and understanding between your strengths and weaknesses in perception and evaluation and other people's. A.M.E. offers insight into differences in experience and decision-making that can greatly empower you to understand yourself, others, and life. Personality preferences are deeply impactful to how we experience life and make decisions, but we are not limited to those preferences forever. A.M.E. gives a map of the territories of life you have already well explored and those you have not. Knowing this can help you identify opportunities to develop the right tool for the job rather than reflexively using the one you feel more proficient with. Good luck on your journey to better understand yourself and other people.